What if I told you that some of the most interesting plants in your garden aren't even the ones that are producing fruits and vegetables? Some can be used in the kitchen, some have been used traditionally for centuries, and some can even be used for garden inputs. Today on Garden Life with Juan, we're taking a deep dive into some herbs that I grow and use in my garden. From a plant that can make your mouth tingle and go numb, to herbs that I use for teas, tinctures, cooking, and even some natural gardening. This is a quick herb deep dive. Let's get into it. When most people hear herbs, they probably think about basils and parsley, but herbs can be so much more than something you just sprinkle on your food. Let's start with one of the most interesting plants in my herb garden, the toothache plant. The flowers and other parts of the plants contain compounds, including spinanthol, which can create a tingling, buzzing, or a numbing sensation in the mouth. It's like my tongue feels sour. The next herb I want to talk about is lemongrass. Lemongrass is one of those plants that can completely change the atmosphere of a garden. The aroma is incredible, and it's also one of those herbs that I think is especially useful in the kitchen. You can use lemongrass in teas, cooking, Asian-inspired dishes, and aromatic uses. Here in Georgia, we have to think about winter temperatures. Lemongrass is much more comfortable in warm weather, so depending on how cold your winter gets, you may have to protect it or bring it inside. This next herb has a very floral, tropical scent. This is pineapple sage. This is one of those plants where the sensory experience is a huge part of why I grow it. Just rubbing it in your hands and smelling it can really boost your whole day. You can use it in teas, you can eat the fresh leaves, add it to desserts, fruit dishes, and even infusions. You can also make tinctures out of these as well. This next herb I'm sure many of you are familiar with. This is rosemary. If I had to give one piece of advice for growing rosemary, it would be to give it plenty of sun and not water it too much. You can use it in cooking, teas, infusions, aromatic uses, and even tinctures. The next herb on the list is comfrey. And if you're an organic gardener, you've probably heard about it. Comfrey is one of those plants that has become incredibly popular among gardeners because of its deep root system and its ability to accumulate nutrients. The leaves can be used as a mulch, added to compost, or incorporated into homemade garden inputs. Comfrey grows very quickly but is known to spread, so definitely keep an eye on it and choose the Bocking variety if you don't want it to spread. This is another herb that I'm sure many of you are familiar with but may not sure what it looks like when it's growing. This is ginger. Ginger is a tropical perennial related to turmeric and cardamom. The part we commonly use is technically a rhizome, which is an underground stem, not a true root, and it has been cultivated and used for thousands of years. You can harvest ginger when it's young, or you can wait until it matures and gets a little tougher, which will also last longer in storage. And I gotta show y'all one of my favorite herbs. This is lemon balm. The first thing that you'll notice when you crush the leaves is the beautiful lemony aroma. Lemon balm is a member of the mint family, and just like mint, it can grow aggressively when it's happy. You can use lemon balm in teas, culinary applications, tinctures, aromatic uses, and traditional calming uses. It's very aromatic. And the last herb to conclude our deep dive is stinging nettle. The name says it all. Stinging nettle is a perennial plant famous for the tiny hollow hairs on its stems and leaves that can cause a painful stinging sensation when touched. Despite its reputation as a weed, nettle is an incredibly useful plant with culinary, ecological, and traditional herbal applications. Now, a lot of people probably ask, why does it sting? The hairs on the plant act like tiny needles, and when you touch them, they can inject irritating compounds into the skin, causing temporary burning, itching, or stinging. Hence the name. Stinging nettle is also one of those plants that can be used in the garden as a fertilizer. You can make fermented plant juice with it, and you can also use it as a mulch. And that concludes the deep dive into herbs. Stay tuned for the next deep dive and more garden videos. Peace.